Number 10. DECAY. DECAY was a nemesis created for Wonder Woman by Phobos, Ares' son. While Wonder Woman attempted to foil Ares' schemes, Phobos saw the opportunity to win his father's favor by destroying Diana. He ventured to the Cavern of the Gorgons and, using the magical properties and matter of the Gorgon's heart, created a villain in its image, much like Diana herself had been created. He sent the fiend called DECAY to Wonder Woman, and the two fought one another. While DECAY proved a formidable foe, almost defeating Wonder Woman, in the end it was Diana's lasso of truth that ended the being. Due to the lasso's ties to Gaia and life, it overwhelmed DECAY, who was born of death, with its life-infused energy until DECAY exploded, reduced once more to the dust form from whence she came. Number 9. MAVIS. Yep, just MAVIS. MAVIS was the villain in the third and final story featured in Wonder Woman issue 4 from the original run of the series. In issue 4, she was the former slave of the then reformed Paula von Gunther. Once freed, however, MAVIS did not want to be reformed on Reform Island like the other girls. No, I'm not kidding. Reform Island is a smaller island that is part of Themyscira, later referred to as Transformation Island. Instead, MAVIS plotted to get revenge on her former mistress. She kidnapped Paula's daughter Greta and attempted to persuade Paula to once again join the German World War II forces, resuming her villainous work. Fortunately, Wonder Woman rescues Gerda, apprehends MAVIS, and saves the day. Number 8. Osira. During the time of ancient Egypt, Osira arrived on planet Earth. She was an alien from another galaxy with insane telepathic powers. During her time in Egypt, she used her powers to rule over the people there, becoming their queen, with her consort becoming their king. Eventually, the people of Egypt rebelled against her, sealing her up in a pyramid. Years later, during World War II, she was accidentally freed from her tomb. She attempted to use her telepathic power to bring peace and end World War II through influencing the minds of those fighting. Actually a pretty noble cause. But Wonder Woman and the Justice Society of America weren't going to let Osira control people, even if it was for the purpose of peace. Wonder Woman defeated Osira by using Starman's gravity rod to break her telepathic hold, and basically defeated her by convincing Osira of the importance of free will above even peace. Since her first appearance in that two-story arc in Wonder Woman Volume 1, issue 231 and 232, Osira has made a few more appearances, mostly reappearing as an antagonist in Wonder Woman giant-size issues. Number 7. Professor Menace. While Professor Menace has also appeared in the DC animated universe, people might not be as familiar with him when it comes to the comics. He only appeared in a handful of issues there. He makes an appearance in the good old original run of Wonder Woman in issue 111, where he attempts to replace Wonder Woman with a robotic duplicate. Known to Diana as simply the Robot Master, he challenges her to a competition to prove that his robotic duplicate is in fact better than even she herself. Wonder Woman accepts the challenge, but the competition is rigged in the robot's favor. Defeated, she agrees, as previously decided, should she lose, to go into retirement. It is then revealed that Robot Master is actually the insidious Dr. Menace, a supervillain. Not content with simply convincing Wonder Woman to retire, he sends the robot after her. I think this is really where he messed up and made a bad choice. Wonder Woman uses an eel to short-circuit her robotic counterpart, defeating Dr. Menace. That's very resourceful, Wonder Woman, using an eel. Number 6. Armageddon. Armageddon is actually a legacy villain, but despite the fact that there have been multiple Armageddons, it's still likely not a name that most people would be super familiar with. Originally, Armageddon fought alongside Germany during World War II on the side of the Axis. He was first introduced in the 1970s in issue 234 of the original Wonder Woman comic. Despite not having any specific superpowers, he was still considered to be a relatively strong foe, skilled in using many different types of weapons. His son and his granddaughter thereafter would also end up taking the villainous mantle of Armageddon, explaining his strength and theirs as coming from being descended from the mythical beings known as ogres. With Armageddon the third first appearing in Wonder Woman Legacy numbered issue 753 earlier this year. Number 5. Angleman. You may have forgotten about Angleman and his angler, but don't worry, we won't let you forget. Angleman has never been considered an A-list villain, likely because he is such a ridiculous name, although it does begin with an A, oddly enough. And he often fights with what looks like some kind of protractor. But his angler, as it's known, is actually a very powerful piece of equipment which can be used to manipulate space and time, although I'm sure it could also be used as a ruler or to help measure angles in a pinch. Multi-purpose. Since his introduction as Angelo Ben, a brilliant and often technologically capable criminal who sometimes dressed up as a stage magician, he has been rebooted and is now known for also being Vandal Savage's son. Number 4. Darano. Donna Troy's origins are always an interesting and kind of ever-changing story, as each DC reboot seems to revamp the origins of where the original Wonder Girl came from. During the Wonder Woman series that started in 2011, the story once again got a refresh of sorts when Darano was introduced. Darano was the lover of Hippolyta, who was turned into an old crone, drained of all her youth and beauty, and ended up deciding instead to live out her days mostly in seclusion. When she learned that Hippolyta had a child with Zeus, the baby that would one day grow up to become Wonder Woman, she set out to make a better heir for the people of Themyscira. Thus, Donna Troy was created. Darano helped Donna to vie for the throne, and the two almost succeeded in usurping Wonder Woman's position as inheritor. Fortunately, Wonder Woman defeated Donna and managed to sway her into becoming her ally, using the power of truth. Darano attempted to kill Wonder Woman for this, but was stopped by the other Amazons. Number 3. The Children of Ares. Ares has a lot of children, and most of them have beef with Diana, but this group of them were specifically known as the Children of Ares, and aren't any of the main bigger ones that you might have heard of before. They are a team of children and villains created by Gail Simone and Bernard Chang, who first appeared in the 2006 run of Wonder Woman in issue 39. They were only around for a few issues but were sired by Ares, who magically impregnated Amazonian women. These children use their mind, control abilities, and manipulation skills to discredit Diana, tarnishing her reputation as a hero and as Wonder Woman. Number 2. Deimos. Deimos is known for being another one of the Children of Ares, separate from the previous group of 5 we just discussed. He first appeared in the original run of Wonder Woman in issue 183. He is the twin brother of Phobos, who created DECAY. Together, these brothers attempted to battle Diana after Phobos' plan of using DECAY failed. Deimos planned to poison Wonder Woman in battle with his snake-like hair, which infected those it touched with a fear-inducing toxin. In the end, however, Wonder Woman beat him by decapitating him with her often underused tiara. That thing is sharp. Number 1. Villainy Incorporated. Villainy Incorporated was a group of women who were former villains of Wonder Woman's trapped together on Transformation Island, also known as Reform Island, as we talked about before. They ended up teaming up in order to escape their dismal fate in issue number 28 of the 1942 Wonder Woman series. Together they managed to capture and overpower Wonder Woman, but as they tried to escape, Wonder Woman managed to break her bonds and recapture the rebellious prisoners. While you may recognize some of the villains on the Villainy Inc. team, not all are easily recognizable. You might know Cheetah or Dr. Poison or even Giganta, but how about Blue Snowman, Hypnotic Woman, Queen Clea, Zara, or one of my favorites, Evil S? Pretty sure Evil S was also the leader of that team. Number 10. Tiamat. While there is a character named Tiamat in the Prime Earth continuity who is quite different, the version of Tiamat we're discussing here once claimed to have been worshipped as a goddess, and was an enemy to Aquaman, likely belonging to the Anunkai, gods and goddesses who were worshipped in ancient Mesopotamia and who were the children of the sky god Anu. Tiamat battled Aquaman in his 90s series a few times and also appeared in War of the Gods, where she did battle against Aquaman again, representing the Babylonian hierarchy of gods and goddesses. Number 9. Harmonia. Harmonia is known as the goddess of harmony and concord. Being that we have the Greek pantheon in the DC universe, those well versed in Greek mythology probably won't be too surprised to see that she too exists among the gods and goddesses there. But those who are less familiar with, the whole of Greek mythology probably didn't even know about her at all. Harmonia would also definitely be lesser known among DC fans, as she only appears a few times in the comics. Still, she has been around since the 80s and is known for being the daughter of Ares and Aphrodite over at DC, which also aligns with one of her prominent origins from Greek mythology, where she's the daughter of Ares and Aphrodite. According to Greek mythology, Harmonia was the keeper of a cursed necklace, which was passed down through generations, and either was unlucky or was cursed because it held within it her power. And I imagine that it's like, if you get the necklace, then it's like you now have her power, but you're not supposed to. It's kind of weird though, because you'd think like harmony wouldn't be a bad power to have. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you haven't already, be sure to go over on Facebook and give us a follow. It really helps us out here at the channel and we really appreciate it. Number 8. Ishtar. DC taps into a lot of different realms when it comes to the widespread realms that their gods cover. One such god, or goddess I suppose I should say, is Ishtar. Ishtar actually hails from Mesopotamia, specifically being a prominent figure in the Babylonian Empire. She exists in the New Earth continuity, and while she isn't predominantly featured in DC mainstream books, she is a character who appears in the Vertigo line of comics in The Sandman. Here we learn that Ishtar was also once the lover of destruction, one of Dream's siblings and a member of the Endless, themselves also gods who represent major ideas and concepts that rule over life and death in the earthly realm. Number 7. Ia. You may have been familiar with Quat, but did you know about Ia, his twin brother? Ia is the identical twin brother of the sun god Quat. He made his first appearance alongside his brother in Future State Superman / Wonder Woman issue number 1. While he doesn't take as active a role in that series as his brother does, I'm hoping that as Yara Flor continues to develop and grow as a character in the DC universe, that there is a good chance we could see more of the Brazilian pantheon of gods, IA included. Yara Flor taking up the mantle of Wonder Woman and her existence as a hero was what helped to bring back the belief in the gods of Brazil, and it would be cool to see more of the moon and sun god brotherly duo as well as all the other gods. We don't get to learn too much of what IA is capable of as we only see him briefly in future states, but gods who represent the moon, such as the Greek Artemis or her Roman counterpart Diana, are generally known for being powerful, full of wisdom, and sometimes a little bit of mystery. They also tend to be twin siblings of the god that represents the sun, which obviously is quite fitting here. Number 6. Thor. Although Thor is more thought of as a Marvel hero, he is a Norse god and technically comes with the free IP, so of course DC has their own version of this character, and has depicted the god of thunder a few different ways across labels and series. Thor made his first appearance in DC Comics back in 1946 in Comic Cavalcade issue 17, where he actually played a somewhat antagonistic role. Odin in fact also appears here in the Wonder Woman story therein, titled The Valkyries Pray. In fact, he wants to try and make Wonder Woman into one of his Valkyries and believes that she might indeed be fit to serve him. I feel like Wonder Woman's gonna be like, nah, I'm good. I got some gods. I'm good. Number 5. Hel. Just as there is a Thor in the DC universe, there is also a Hel. In the Marvel universe, we know Hel as Hela. She is the daughter of Loki in the comics, Thor's niece, and is the banished sister of Loki and Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the DC universe, she is also the daughter of Loki and mainly appears in Sandman Presents the Thessaliad. At least, her new Earth mythological version does. There's also a villain known as Hel from Axis America, real name Helen Shepard, and a character named Hel in the Prime Earth continuity, who's a Kryptonian villain. So there's a lot of Hels running around. In Norse mythology, Hel is normally known as the ruler of the underworld. Number 4. Delirium. Delirium is a family member of the Endless. She is one of the youngest family members and was once known as Delight. I actually did a Delirium cosplay a short while ago, and while quite a few were fans of Sandman that saw it and loved the look, others did not even know who Delirium was, although a lot of them still loved the look, which was nice. So of course I thought her a fitting addition to this list. Delirium once represented the spark of happiness, joy, and innocence as Delight, but now represents insanity and lucidity in the world. She can make you mad just by wishing it or gazing at you, and often to her this is a gift that she bestows on those who she favors. But insanity is also something she uses to punish those that displease her. Needless to say, she is not necessarily a member of the Endless that you would want to cross, but nor would you want to be rewarded by her. Aside from bringing madness with her wherever she goes, she can also create beings and bring inanimate objects to life and alter her own appearance based on mood. When she has to become the voice of reason, her eyes will typically be the same color, though they are normally each different colors. Generally one is blue and one is green, but which eyes are which color tend to constantly shift as well. Number 3. Zonas. You might know about Darkseid, who belongs to the new gods, but do you know about Zonas, who belongs to the old gods? After all, for there to be new gods, there had to have been old gods, right? Zonas is one of the old gods and is in fact believed to have been the last of the old gods. He was known as the god of evil, or Yuga Khan. At one point he wielded anti-life, claiming it was what allowed him to actually resurrect the old gods, and is the original one to wield Omega Beams. Zonas ended up being trapped in the Source, and even after escaping that prison and attempting to destroy all of creation, was defeated and then imprisoned there once more. Number 2. Upside Down Man. I'm not quite sure if we consider Upside Down Man a god in the DC universe, but what I do know is that he is the dark reflection of Hecate, who is quite dark herself, so that's saying something. And she is considered to be a goddess and a powerful witch, so I think we can consider Upside Down Man to be at a god level. And of course Upside Down Man is also a powerful magic user. Hecate was the first creature to be born to magic, and Upside Down Man came into existence about the same time or shortly thereafter. Fearing the horror of this magical monster, Hecate actually basically banished Upside Down Man, cutting him off from the world and the other members of the other kind, who later were let back into the world during the events of the second Justice League Dark series. His magic is particularly strong because he pulls it straight from the source, as in the source of all existence, energy, and things in the universe. Number 1. Death. While fans of the Sandman series may be very familiar and huge fans of Death, because honestly everyone loves this character, a lot of people haven't read the Sandman series yet and do not know this character, or haven't listened to it yet, or haven't seen the show yet. I mean, the show isn't out yet. Still waiting on that. I really wanted to give her our top spot because not only is she super powerful and of course a little bit more niche, but while many people know of Mistress Death from Marvel, not as many people know about DC's his death, who is also a lady, and I think that is a crying shame because honestly, Death from Vertigo in DC is just a cooler character overall. Sorry, Mistress Death, I love you, but I love the endless version of Death even more. I like DC's version more, I know. Death will likely become more loved by the mainstream when she appears in Netflix's The Sandman series, but until then, she can just be our best kept secret. Except not now for you, because she's on this list, so now you know. She is not the oldest of the Endless, but she is the second oldest. Her elder brother Destiny is the only one that's actually older than her. Who is your favorite of the lesser known gods?
Number 10, the Eraser. Probably the villain with the most interesting attire on this list today. Leonard Fiasco actually went to high school alongside Bruce Wayne. Due to his low grades, he actually ended up dropping out of school and turned to a life of crime as the villain Eraser. He apparently chose that name as a reminder of his constant failures during his school life, and also because he wanted to provide a special service to the criminals of Gotham City. Donning an Eraser helmet that looks exactly like the top of a pencil, and alongside his signature yellow suit, he has been seen throughout the years erasing every trace of evidence left at any crime scene, making it impossible for the police to find any clues, and he does such a good job of it that he manages to stump Batman and Robin from time to time. He is eventually caught by the dynamic duo though after they infiltrate his hideout, and not much has been seen of him since. If you're interested in his story, check him out in his first appearance in 1966, Batman number 188. Number 9, Sportsmaster. Starting off with a pretty vanilla villain, Lawrence Crusher Croc was a very competitive sportsman who excelled at many sports, but he never played fair. Doing anything possible to win, he was eventually banned from playing any sport at a professional level, which for some reason led him to a life of crime. I don't know why. After a run-in with the Green Lantern, he supposedly dies, but it's revealed that he actually just faked his death, and that's when he became the Sportsmaster. After little success as a solo villain, Croc decided to join the Injustice Society, but after a series of crimes, he ends up in jail for a while. After serving his time, he teamed up with the Huntress and actually ended up marrying her, has a daughter, and then the three of them committed crimes together as one big happy crime family. Croc does eventually lose his life at the hands of the Human Flame following the events of Final Crisis though. With basically no superpowers other than being pretty good at sports, it's no wonder this villain has been forgotten in time. Check him out in his first appearance, All-American Comics number 85. Number 8, we have Johnny Karaoke. The crooning Yakuza loan shark is the next on our list today. Definitely not the most fearsome of Batman foes, however, this villain is way too interesting to stay buried for too long. After all, you've got to respect any American fearsome enough to rise through the ranks of the Yakuza. Although he seems like a very happy-go-lucky kind of guy, this is all an act because once you let your guard down around him, he'll whip out his cane that doubles as a microphone and a sword and do whatever he feels is necessary to protect himself and his geisha girls. Though he hasn't really made any appearances outside of his first appearance in 2007's Batman number 660, the character Jonathan John Charisma Brown from Batman Arkham Knight is heavily influenced by him and likely an homage to the smooth-talking Elvis impersonator. Like many lesser-known Batman villains, Johnny does not possess any powers other than the ability to sing pretty well, but his connection to the Yakuza combined with his own skills makes him a fairly dangerous foe. Number 7, Condiment King. Now with a name like Mitchell Mayo, it makes sense that this villain's name would be the Condiment King. Once an inmate of Arkham Asylum, Mayo somehow managed to break out but was immediately subdued by Batman and Catwoman. His dream was to one day open a restaurant on Coney Island, and he actually does achieve that, stating he's turned legit and wants nothing more than to leave his life of crime behind. However, he does later don his suit once more and does his best to wreak havoc against Batman and Nightwing. Possessing no powers whatsoever, Mayo relies heavily on his gadgets, the most prominent being his condiment guns. These guns shoot a variety of sauces including ketchup, barbecue sauce, mustard, and more. However, it's kind of useless because it doesn't shoot anything at a high enough pressure to be lethal. The best it can do is create a nasty stain and just ruin your day. Check out this villain for yourself in his first appearance in Birds of Prey Volume 1 number 37 or in his New 52 reintroduction in 2016's Batman Volume 3 number 9. Number 6, Flamingo. Edward Flamingo, known professionally as the Assassin Flamingo, is truly ruthless, and I'm genuinely surprised he hasn't appeared in the media more. As an emotionless, unfeeling killer with the odd tendency to eat his victims' faces after he's killed them, Flamingo has proven to be a formidable foe as he is able to temporarily paralyze Damian Wayne, and would have killed him if it lasted longer, showing that he has no problem killing anyone whatsoever. He even nearly killed the Red Hood and would have gotten away with it if it weren't for the intervention of Dick Grayson, who had recently taken up the mantle of Batman after Bruce Wayne's death. As a master assassin, Flamingo has the know-how to use pretty much every firearm imaginable, and thanks to his iconic pink motorcycle, he is rarely caught. Described as an evil Zorro by his creator Grant Morrison, why not check him out for yourself in 2007's Batman number 666. Number 5, Maxie ZEUS. Chronologically, the fourth Batman villain to be committed to Arkham Asylum behind the Joker, Two-Face, and Rupert Thorne, Maximilian started out with pretty humble beginnings as a Greek history teacher. After his wife dies from unrevealed circumstances, Zeus loses his sanity and becomes a crime lord, using his intelligence and resources to rise to power in Gotham's underworld. Upon his very first murder though, he is thwarted by Batman and committed to Arkham Asylum, where he escaped from many times, one of which Batman actually let slide, as it was so he could go wish his daughter happy birthday. With each escape leading him to lose more and more of his sanity, Zeus eventually gets to a point where he joins forces with the children of Ares, Deimos, Phobos, and Eris, to help merge Gotham City with Ares' throne capital, the Areopagus. Maxie is actually killed as a result of this whole plot, and his sacrifice is what brings the return of Ares, who is thankfully stopped by Wonder Woman. Funnily enough, it's actually revealed about a year later that Maxie is alive and well and running an illegal casino that eventually gets shut down thanks to a tip from the boy Wonder, and Maxie is sent back to jail without any struggle. You've probably guessed it, but this guy doesn't have any powers either. Basically, his knowledge as a history teacher and his ability to lead got him as far as possible, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. Check him out in his first appearance in 1979's Detective Comics number 483. Number 4. Dollhouse. As the daughter of Barton Mathis, known best as the Doll Maker, Matilda Mathis commits crimes and operates under the name Dollhouse. From a young age, she was taught how to hunt and slaughter people, and usually wore a doll face that was grafted over her own when committing these crimes. Forced to go into hiding after her father's business starts to go wrong after he kidnaps Batman, she is the only one of his children to actually end up resurfacing and to carry on the family business later on. Dollhouse picks up right where her father left off, taking Gotham's more misfortunate citizens and making money off of their organs through the black market. Like Dollmaker, Matilda turns the bodies into dolls, of which she actually keeps more than a few for her own dollhouse. Making her first appearance in 2011's Detective Comics Volume 2, Number 2, check out her twisted upbringing for yourself and let me know in the comments below what you think. Number 3. The Ventriloquist. Since his debut in Detective Comics number 583, 3 versions of the Ventriloquist have perplexed audiences. These versions being Arnold Wesker, Peyton Riley, and New 52's Shauna Belzer, but let's focus on Wesker as he is the best known of the 3. Because of his multiple personality disorder, Wesker uses a ventriloquist dummy to commit mob-related crimes. This doll, famously named Scarface for his Al Capone-like appearance, controls Wesker and the crime business they run. If Scarface isn't present, then Wesker projects an identity onto another inanimate object, usually sock puppets or anything else that he can use as a puppet. First appearing in 1988's Detective Comics number 583, we've seen Wesker as a member of the Secret Society of Supervillains, the Black Lantern Corps, and even the Justice League of Arkham, with all the stories and battles leading up to his tragic death in 2006's Detective Comics number 818. A year after surviving Luthor's attempt to recreate the multiverse, we see the Great White Shark burst into Wesker's apartment and kill him with a single shot to the head. Man, it's such a sad way to go for such a good villain. Number 2. Professor Pig. Laszlo Valentine, aka Professor Pig, and that's P-Y-G not P-I-G, was a former agent of Spiral driven mad by his own mind-eroding drugs, and he was an enemy of Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne during their time as Batman and Robin. Characterized as a schizophrenic, Pig's mental illness explains many of his habits, one of the most prominent being his desire to make everything perfect. Now, how does he go about accomplishing this task? Well, by unleashing Dollatrons and mind-altering substances onto Gotham City. The Dollatrons are at the center of Professor Pig's story depravity, being brainwashed people who followed his every command as though they were robots. And though they act as his loyal minions, the Dollatrons are actually very much expendable and have been replaced many, many times. Despite his mental illness, Valentine is still a formidable foe with a mastery of basic hand-to-hand combat and a high-level proficiency with a knife, since they were once an incredible surgeon able to perform complicated surgeries, once actually switching a hand with a foot. Making their first appearance alongside Flamingo in 2007's Batman number 666, check out their origin story for yourself or read their New 52 introduction in Batman Volume 2 number 1. And finally, number 1, the Phantasm. Created for the DC animated movie Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Andrea Beaumont treads that line between good and evil as the vigilante, the Phantasm. Her and Bruce were university sweethearts and actually had plans to get married one day. However, her father was a rich businessman who got involved with the wrong kind of people and ended up having to go into hiding, and eventually all that got him killed. This drove Andrea to take revenge on all those who were a member of the criminal gang who killed her father, especially Jack Napier, who ended up becoming the Clown Prince of Crime. To take her revenge on Chucky Soul, Buzz Bronski, and Sal Valestra, she dons the mantle of the Phantasm, a figure that kind of resembles the Grim Reaper, complete with a scythe that she wears over her right hand. Using her father's money to hone her skills, she returns to Gotham years later to complete her goal of killing all the mob bosses. However, she does not get the chance to kill the Joker as Batman ends up intervening. Years later, she does kind of redeem herself by not killing Terry McGinnis' parents after being hired to, but after after causing so much bloodshed, I really think she's more on the evil side of things. If you want to see her story for yourself, check out Batman Mask of the Phantasm and let me know what you think.